Hello guys, welcome back to another video. Today we'll be looking at Stamina Warden. This was requested on my Maxorc video that I try and put out a Stam Warden build. So I've been playing Stam Warden all week and this build's been really fun. I call it the Iron Raptor because it's fast. There's definitely a bird motif with Warden, and it's also ridiculously tanky. Just to give an idea, on our back bar we are sitting at 37.2k spell resistance and 36.5k physical resistance, which is obviously above the cap for both of them. But this means that even foes that are running a lot of penetration, they will still be mitigated quite a bit by our defenses, and that, along with our big juicy health pool, means that we've got a lot of staying power. We can very much hold our ground with this build and sort of choose where to engage. And also, we're not super slow like a Dragon Knight either. We've got really nice built-in mobility with our Falcon's swiftness, and we've got a good combination of both pressure over time as well as very strong burst damage as well. So let's start off by having a look at the sets that we're running. So on the front bar, we are running two pieces of Oakfather's Retribution. So we're running a mace, Nirnhond, and a charged dagger. You can also run two maces of Oakfather's Retribution if you want. I just like having the extra crit on the front bar as well, because I feel like that can help with critting vigors and things like that. Oakfather is a very strong set. It gives 3 lines of weapon and spell damage, and then on the 5-piece we get penetration as well as weapon damage based on how many buffs the opposing target have. This does mean that our character sheet can be a bit buggy when it comes to actually seeing how much weapon, spell damage, and penetration we have. For example, if you look at my penetration just now, it's 5511. Physical penetration, but if I then drink a tripod, activate vigor, activate my armor, my crit buff, my brutality, and my swiftness, I'm sitting now at 13.6k pen, because it's counting me as my own target. What this is useful for is just getting a rough idea of how much pen you would expect to have against the average target. So if we're sitting at roughly about 12 to 14k pen against the average PvPer, and then we add on our major and minor breach, we're actually sitting on 20k pen. So nearly 40k resistance on the back bar and 20k pen on the front bar. Yeah, you can get an idea of why this build works. So yeah, Mace and Dagger of Oakfather's Retribution, and then on our back bar we are running the Infinite Archive set, the Ares Cry. This is a really interesting set, so it gives us really nice 2, 3, and 4 pieces, pen, damage, and then on our 5-piece, dealing damage with a light attack applies Eagle's Mark to your target for 12 seconds. This causes them to take a fairly juicy dot over time. Every 3 seconds they get hit by this little eagle thing that does a decent amount of damage. And in addition to that, they take 10% more damage from our animal companion abilities. So namely, on this build, our Deep Fissure, as well as our Growing Swarm, will do extra damage against that single target. This is a really effective set. So if you think about the damage tooltip of something like Tarnished Nightmare, this is about half the tooltip of Tarnished Nightmare, but it's a fire and forget set that you just put on your target. It's doing that dot over time, softening them up, also causing them to take more burst damage from your main burst skills, and in addition to that, it's something unique to Warden. And I think nowadays, post hybridization, you should always try and look and see what makes a class unique. Otherwise, we'll all just be playing the beta, and we want to keep things interesting and fun for our own enjoyment as well. So Oakfather on the front bar, Ares Cry on the back bar, defending with a weapon damage enchant. Then, as always, we're running 2 pieces of Balorg. This is an essential set for any sort of burst gameplay. So we're running both of these heavy, and then 1-piece heavy trainee. And Oakfather only comes in light, so we've got that on the sash. And then we've got 2 medium and 1 heavy Ares Cry as well. Then Infused Jewelry and Bloodthirsty Mark and Ring of Majesty with a Stamina Recovery enchant. This gives us nice weapon damage and armor. So in total we're running 4 pieces of heavy, 1 light and 2 medium. Just looking at our character sheet again, unbuffed. Well, let's just buff up slightly. Front bar we're sitting at 5.6k weapon damage and decent recoveries as well. So 1000 magical recovery and 1673 stamina recovery. Obviously this goes up if you drink a tripod. Plenty of sustain. We are a Nord on this build. It feels thematic and it also helps us with ulti-gen for our Balorg as well as with the resistances as well for our tankiness. Smoke Bear Hodge as our food and the Serpent as our Mudstone. Moving on to our skills. So on the back bar we're running Growing Swarm. This is a nasty dot that also applies minor vulnerability and also does AoE damage around the target as well. Very effective, and typically will have light attacked before casting this on our target, so they'll be taking 10% more damage from this as well. Lotus Blossom is our source of major savagery. It lasts a minute, which is fantastic because Warden has a lot of buffs that you need to juggle, so not having to cast this too often is very important. This heals us whenever we do damage with a light or heavy attack. This is really important because it's also a source of sustain as well. Because we'll be light attacking every second, we'll typically be healing ourselves every second, so we'll be getting back 250 magicka or stamina every second, which is the equivalent of about 500 recovery. So don't neglect this skill, it's really strong. Ice Fortress is our armor buff. It also gives us minor protection, really good skill. Polar Wind, absolutely busted health-based heal on the Warden that heals both yourself and an ally, as well as putting a really powerful heal over time. 1 click of this is probably the equivalent of about 2 vigors, and yeah, it heals 2 targets. It's incredibly busted. As annoying as this skill is, it's important to run it on Warden because that's Warden's strength. It's got a lot of staying power, it's got a lot of bulkiness, a lot of tankiness. It's good in 1vx situations. It really shines in a small group setting, something like small scale cyrodiil or a battleground. Bullnetch is our source of major brutality and sorcery, and it also gives us a nice amount of stamina back over time as well. And it also removes negative effects from us as well as sometimes giving us a damage done buff too. One thing to note is on Warden, whenever one of our animal companion skills end, we get healed for 1411 health. So what you can do is you can cast Netch on cooldown because it's a free skill and it just it gives you something to do when you're not wanting to use a particular ability. It gives you a little heal, gives you a small cleanse. Very effective. Northern Storm is our backbar ultimate. It does an incredible amount of damage over 8 seconds. It snares enemies. It gives us major protection. It builds up our weapon and spell damage. It's very, very, very strong. This is usually reserved for tankier targets or in situations where you're grossly outnumbered. Most of the time, I'll be using my Dawnbreaker on the front bar alongside a timed Deep Fissure, particularly the second hit of Deep Fissure. They time really nicely together for a big burst combo. Resolving Vigor is our main heal skill on the front bar. I run this on the front bar because we get a stronger tooltip on the front bar. If you see on the back bar, the tooltip goes down by 2k, so it's good to cast on the front bar and then you can bar swap and you keep the higher strength of the Vigor ticks. Shattering Knife is a scribe skill. This is our main spammable. It's quite expensive at 3100 stamina, but it does a nice approximately 8k tooltip unbuffed, and obviously more when we buff up as well. But the really busted thing with this skill is we've put the Warden class skill on it, the class affix, which gives us a large area under the target that does a big snare, and it also does an unblockable stun and charms the target as well. So this is both our stun, our spammable, as well as our source of minor force, which is a buff that Warden doesn't typically come by very easily because we are using Bird of Prey rather than Race Against Time as our source of speed. This is really, really strong. It gives us minor berserk while slotted as well. Gives us immunity to snares and mobilizations. I really like having this on the front bar. So normally I have my mobility skill on the back bar, but oftentimes what you're wanting to do actually in chasing down a target is you want to be able to keep your speed up while you're going after them. So yeah, it's nice having that on the front bar, and it also gives us the minor berserk as well. And then finally, Whirling Blades is our execute skill. It's our AoE spammable. It's how we get Night Blades out of stealth as well. Very good skill. Moving on to our champion points, in the blue tree we are running Focused Mending to boost our healing up even more. Even though Polar Wind targets yourself and an ally, it counts as 2 single target heals, so Focused Mending buffs that. Master Arms, most of our damage is direct, so this is nice boost to that, as well as most of our damage being AoE as well. Even our spammable is primarily AoE. It's got a small single target component, but the majority of the damage is AoE, so it's nice to be able to buff that all together. And then Ironclad just for a bit of damage reduction as well. In the red tree, we are running Boundless Fatality to boost our health up even more because that also affects our healing. Sustained by Suffering, Pain's Refuge, and Celerity. So a couple of tips with this build. I think one thing that's really important on Warden is just keeping your buffs up on the back bar. We are incredibly tanky on the back bar, and we're very difficult to put down. We've got a lot of staying power. And essentially what we want to be doing is we want to be softening up our target and going in for the kill once they've been dotted up. Because your spammable also doubles up as a stun, what's really effective is that it puts a lot of stamina pressure on the target because it forces them to either dodge roll out of the big AoE or it causes them to be forced to break free. I'm just trying to find a mammoth here. Here we go. Just to demonstrate the Ares Cry proc as well. So when we light attack on the back bar, you can see that 11-second counter, and then this little bird attacks every 3 seconds, doing a bit of damage. And it stays there even when we go to the front bar. And then we can just reapply it on cooldown. And yeah, I mean, it's doing 8k on crits. Obviously this is going to be halved against the player, but yeah, no, it's very effective. It's a nice thing that's unique to the Warden as well, and it increases the damage done by our burst skills too. Try and light attack, weave as often as you can. It's very important for your sustain as well because of that that passive in green balance that I was talking about before. And what's quite nice is as long as you're light attacking, if you heal yourself with your Lotus Blossom, you then get Major Mending for 4 seconds as well. So make sure you light attack if you're at low health before casting your big heal skills. Before I forget, let's just quickly go over the rotation as well. So you want to start on your back bar, have all of your buffs up. Start off with a light attack into Swarm, Bar Swap, Beetles. Yeah, hopefully you caught that. So you get two spammables off, and then as your Beetles go off, you want to either do a Dawnbreaker or a Spin to Win. And yeah, that's it. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Hopefully you can enjoy this build and have some fun with it. Warden has lost a bit of damage in the Gold Road patch because of its change to the Piercing Cold passive, so we're not really trying to get Piercing Cold on the front bar, but it is nice being able to light attack with the Ice Staff on the back bar just to get some more block mitigation. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the clips. Any questions, post them down in the comments, and I will see you in the next build video. Peace.